It's such a price. Place of hopeful.
I just don't- I
In
just don't think we have anything for.
May
So that's what I don't
and
understand.
earlier in June, they come and go, they're trying, but there's some of them. Well, no.
And then the hunters, once hunting season, they're talking.
Yes, there's, yeah.
Stuff with the south,
This is pretty far, so the river,
you know, and this. And weren't you guys gonna have their RV parks? Yeah.
I mean, she mentioned
So we-
that asks to probably.
well,
Just.
Yeah, she's-
Or that.
Yeah.
Bridges.
But,
Yeah.
Reading was not.
Areas, and
Sure.
we call that right across the street from.
You feel this way, say that's in full?
Yes.
yes, there's those campgrounds there, they don't even advertise it.
Oh.
But they're campground there right now, they got a permit, and they don't really do
So we're 5 minutes past the hour, I think we'll get started, so, pulling double duty today with our minutes and clerk, so. If you guys see anybody pop up in the waiting room and I miss them, just flag me, let me know, so I can admit. Other than that, only have 2 agenda items today with, some new business, old business there. And with that, I'll call a regular meeting of Dolores County Board of County Commissioners to order Tuesday, June 16th. Everybody can join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are you guys good with each other?
Yeah, anything to add? Do you guys want anything added to the agenda?
Rain.
Fire restrict, if we could talk about fire restrictions too, please.
Okay, we can throw that in new business if that works.
Okay,
Or probably old business, because we talked about it our last one. We'll throw that in.
if we could, please.
Yep. So I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with added old business of fire restriction discussion with Sheriff Wilson.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes as well, with our one added old business, piece of business. Expenditures, went through the vouchers, so I know you were looking into one with Road and Bridge right now.
I will contact them, have questions about if it was for semi or
Okay,
it was a big, large amount.
okay,
I don't have anything.
yeah,
Any questions?
that was the only one, just some of those items with that large purchase, know exactly what that is for, but. Being that I don't have anything for expenditures. I'll make a motion to approve expenditures with investigation into that one road and bridge voucher.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve expenditures.
Yes.
Yes.
Favor, yes. Minutes, we have May 11th, 2026 expenditure meeting minutes, May 18th, 2026 regular meeting minutes, and May 26th, 2026 our end of the month meeting minutes. Have any questions with our
I don't have any
minutes?
questions.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the regular county commissioners minutes for May 18th and May 26th. End of the month meeting minutes.
I'll second that motion.
A motion from Commissioner Yellowman and a second Commissioner Davis to approve May 11th expenditure meeting minutes, May 18th regular meeting minutes, and May 26th end of month. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes as well. And our 10 o'clock. Thank you. Crystal, Rico Center.
Yes, I did print off our approved budget for the year as well as a short summary of the grants that we awarded for this year. The grants that we awarded for this year, the list on the second page does not include the fire department, $75,000. We called it an out of cycle. And that's just because the check actually was cashed in January. That's when their deposit was due. And so even though it was last year's grant, it showed up in our accounts, for 2026. So that's the only funky thing. So that grant total that you see, 42,000 and something, does not include that because that was a 2025 grant. We have not paid out all of our grants yet this year. We do that upon request. Some organizations prefer to have that money in their account to go ahead and spend, and some prefer to wait and just submit their, I guess, invoice for their grant towards the end of the year. And usually that happens when they're not totally sure how much they're gonna need, so they can avoid a refund towards the end of the year. Let's see, what else is going on this year? We did just wrap up the former Rico Community Church Committee that the Board of Trustees formed just for some guidance on how to use the new community building. And the Rico Center did have a seat on that committee, just based on our mission and our function in the community. That felt appropriate. So Emily Nolan, who's one of our board members, sat on that committee. And we were pretty active. We helped administer the community survey that the committee used and things like that, utilizing one of our software resources that we pay for grant submittal and things like that. So other than that, just bracing for reduced revenue year over year. I know that that's coming. So we've been kind of planning around that. This is 42,000 is actually like a pretty low grant number for us. One of the organizations that usually applies for a large grant from us, the Rico Trails Alliance, was awarded $250,000 from CPW for their bridge project. So that took a little heat off of us this year, which is kind of nice. We have been very supportive of that project for many years. So their lead up to that. But this year they didn't need us. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Artist of Rico speaks. Sorry.
That is Joanna Yonder's project. So they actually just had one of their meetings at the Fireweed on Sunday night. But it's spoken word, music, it's just kind of a community gathering. And I think she has themes, and I haven't been able to make one. It's always, I've always had a conflict, unfortunately, but I think she was trying to continue the momentum that the poetry grant had established. I think that was 2 years ago when they started that. So just expanding it outside of poetry.
Rico Curling.
Rico Curling. So the folks,
That's what I was gonna ask.
the folks that started the Telluride Curling Club actually moved to Rico. They purchased a home and just started a family, actually. And so that's JD and Megan Wise. And they wanted to utilize our new pavilion, which does have ice rink infrastructure for the winter, to start some curling in town. And with the Winter Olympics, it was kind of good to generate some excitement. So this year with the conditions, they were able to do one Learn to Curl event. So they borrowed some equipment from the Telluride Curling Club and brought it over. And I think we had almost 60 people come out down to the pavilion in the cold and learn to curl, which was really fun. So we're hoping to have perhaps a small tournament this coming winter or something like that. I don't know if we're ready to take on a league, but we'll see. I think there was a learning curve too, just with preparing the ice on the new space. But with that pavilion roof, it really preserves it. So that was exciting. You were at Learn to Curl, weren't you? Yeah. So.
That's the thing you run around with a broom like.
It's pretty fun. The kids were having
On
a total
skates
ball.
or?
No, you have one slippery shoe and one not slippery shoe, because when you throw, you kind of slide along. And then the broomers, who are really good, they'll like skid while they broom. I am just trying to stay upright the entire time, so I'm not there. But it was exciting to have a new group come in and apply for a grant, so we always love that.
It's great, especially with the Olympics. I can imagine that is a pretty popular thing.
Oh yeah, they hold a little watch party at the Enterprise during the Winter Olympics, I think when the US was in a match, and that was pretty fun too. So There's a lot to learn, like people don't know the terms and so they have small like tabletop boards where it's easier to explain what's going on.
You
So they
scroll
brought
those?
those.
No, I'd like to though, looks like it'd be fun. No one's trying to hit you, that's nice.
Yeah, no contact unless you're making contact with the ice and that's your own fault. It's challenging to get involved with that in Telluride because of ice time, so they have 10 PM slots, late night slots or really early morning, and so I know folks in Rico aren't really able to participate.
Yeah. And then thank you for giving Rico Library some money for the courier.
Of course, yeah, that wasn't in the budget for Susan. I did attend the last library board meeting with Linda, just out of curiosity, just to understand how those budgets are developed and where the priorities are. So I'm learning more about our county library system. And yeah, happy to support Susan. I think she also purchased some software for children to use in the library. Not exactly sure what it does. I haven't tried it, but I know that it is now installed and ready to use. I saw that announcement. So we are also hosting on the 2nd of July, I believe it's full, unfortunately, a puzzle competition in the former church building. So that is through, I believe we got some puzzles from the Norwood Library. It's kind of a traveling kit of competition puzzles because they're all the same. And then folks were able to sign up in teams of 2. And so that will be timed and there will be little prizes.
Like jigsaw puzzles?
500-piece jigsaw puzzle.
Cool. I didn't either.
It's
Oh,
becoming
my granny's would have.
a thing.
Come out first.
Dolores has a huge puzzle competition every year in their community center. And then I know Telluride Library hosts them. That's where one of our board members got involved with the puzzling and wanted to bring it to Rico. So as the Rico Center, we're just gonna host that. So that should be fun. That's on the 2nd. So hopefully we'll capture some folks that are coming into town. There's a wait list because it filled up because there's only so many puzzles, but
Oh my gosh.
hopefully we'll have more. I think that sounds fun. Any other
I
questions?
don't have any more.
Okay.
I know you touched on it with, reduced revenues in the future, and that's something I've been working on right now. It looks like, our 2025 assessed value was 99. It looks like 26 with the drop in production from oil and gas, we're gonna be down about 9 million there. So around 90. That's not including Air Products pulling out and looking at the historical data with our abstracts, anticipating another 7 million down in 27. That's not including our downward adjustments. So we don't know what it's gonna look like, but we do know that our oil and gas production is gonna hurt the next 2 years. Running some AI modeling with it, and from 2015 to 26, and then projecting out to 2037, 10-year. It's not looking too good for the total assessed value. 2031, I want to say 74, and then 2037 would be at 62. So about 2/3 of what we're seeing. So
Yeah, that sounds like what I've heard already. We do have some savings whenever there are years where we grant less than we receive from the county. We've just been saving that. We've had a few donations over the years, so that's where some of our, where we pay for our little awards ceremony that we have in the church. We had dinner for folks and they came and they learned about the Rico Center and we honored our grantees. That usually comes out of those donations, but yeah, we've been trying to be careful about having some coffers so that we don't have to drastically stop supporting some of these organizations, especially those that have applied year after year. And we do have some CDs accounts where we're trying to collect a little bit of interest on that too. So we've tried to be strategic. But yeah, I think everyone knows that's coming, unfortunately.
yeah, and I can share with you too, the charts that it generated, because I broke it out with quality of life and between the three specifically, but I can share that.
Yeah, I'll shoot you an email and ask for that just as a reminder, but, and if anything comes up and you want to see any of the grant applications or would like any more information about any of the projects or what we do, I'm happy to provide that. I used to provide this huge stack of paper and that seems wasteful of my time and of paper. So if there's anything specific, I'm happy to provide it. I would like to maintain that transparency as much as possible. I just figured this was less wasteful, so.
No, I think this is great, and
Yeah, it is.
I mean, just looking at what you've given to, seems like a very good asset for the community over here, so. I wish it wasn't so far, because Kurt sounds.
You should come up. I don't know when it'll be, but
Jigsaw puzzle.
yeah, puzzling competition on the second.
We're in the curly, not me.
So,
I have all bones.
I think the financials are perfect and, the,
Yeah,
what you were doing for a while there was too much. I mean, you sit there and thank you for doing it, because we did ask for it back then, the commissioners wanted it, but. It was just too much. This is really to the point and
yeah,
easy to read and it's good.
Perfect. And yeah, it doesn't have to be around this time of year either. If you ever have a question, just let me know. I'm always happy to provide it year round. And we've been meeting quarterly. We kind of switched it up on our board. Grant season is different. We often meet several times in the span of November and December, which is already a busy time for everyone. So being able to reduce those meetings throughout the year was a priority, and that has actually been working great. So wonderful. Thank you so much.
thank you, Chris.
a little, but Aaron.
Hi, everybody,
There,
hot off the press. Oops,
Oh, wow,
why posters? Could you post them somewhere?
absolutely.
Give the sheriff one, he was just asking what was going on.
Oh, thank you.
These are nice posters.
Yeah, thanks.
Nice.
Well, a few changes in the schedule this year, but we're finally ready. We'll be here before you know it.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm actually here to talk about the cemetery. So a little background. The cemetery district was formed by the county in 1995. Got the document for that. And then it did whatever it did, and in 2010, I worked with Dennis to sort of just say, yeah, it's still here. And at that point, the county commissioners appointed myself and Mary Hagan and Jenny Nunley as the directors. So it's been rather casually managed since then. We've been working the last few years with grants from the RICO Center. We've done quite a bit on cleaning it up. We've straightened out the fences that are falling down again. Added some gates, added some benches and things, some artwork. And we took out 6 trees that were huge trees that were dangerous. So that was part of the grant funding. We have a little bit of donations, not a whole lot. So right now, during all this time, we've also had just a nonprofit that's been operating things. So we're kind of on a track to run both. With the cemetery district, we don't have any actual taxing. So until there's such a time that there is an opportunity to have some property taxes, then we'll just keep it minimally alive, but still formally compliant, which we haven't quite been. So the resolution and the bylaws call for quarterly meetings of the district. And we're just going to design the updated bylaws of the association to sort of coincide with that. So we'll have at least quarterly meetings, and we can wear each hat as needed, but mostly it'll be the nonprofit unless we have taxing. But what we're trying to do is clean up the boundaries of the cemetery. There may be 4 or 5 different owners, possibly, I'm not sure. But the Forest Service is one. So Dennis and I have worked a couple of times with the Forest Service. We're trying to do a Small Tracks Act to change that, but it involves a lot of stuff and it's gonna take some time, but we want to act as we should as a district while we're in that process. So the actual transfer of property from the Forest Service to us will take an act of Congress to approve. So we're probably looking at a 2-year horizon, maybe 5 years with how Congress is acting right now. So, but for today, I just wanted to give you that update and then also to ask you to appoint myself and Mary Hagan and Genevieve Yellman as directors. Jenny Nunley has moved out of the area, so she's no longer here. And it's just kind of questionable about whose term is what, so if under the ordinance or the resolution, you guys are supposed to appoint the directors if there is a vacancy. So if you would do that, we could be on board and then we'll coordinate the actions of the district and the nonprofit association.
And I'd like to see that as well, and then I would like it so, the board is just reappointed automatically at the reorganizational meeting each year, and then if you have a vacancy, Aaron, if you could just let us know before the first of the year, and we'll just, renew, whoever you want on the board will.
Okay,
Yeah.
can we elect our own directors? Do other districts do that? I mean, the statute and the bylaws say that the board fills vacancies, but I don't know if election is a vacancy.
I'd have to look.
Okay,
And we can do
Special
that.
districts do, don't they, or kind of hard
Yes.
ambulance we did.
It's different from a special district.
Is that-
They don't have elections, I don't believe. It's just appointments and then filling vacancies.
okay.
Why don't we take a look at it before the first of the year? And
Okay.
we'll- Whatever you need to do.
So the statute has 6-year terms. And staggered, so every 2 years, if it's you guys that need to appoint an expiring term, then yeah.
I think we do for the other district. Yeah, I think, because occasionally we will get a appointment. When we had to do the reorganization on the Donna Creek district.
So we do our annual officers and that sort of thing. It's just
Yeah.
the actual appointment of the director.
Okay. Could I ask one thing though,
Sure.
and then we had touched on this before too, is the interplay between the nonprofit and the district, just so everyone, when we're long gone, understands what was going on. Could you just do an IGA, or I guess it wouldn't be an IGA since the nonprofit's not a governmental entity, but could you do an MOU or something like the district is appointing the nonprofit to carry on the daily business of the
Okay.
district? Just something
Yeah.
for the file, I
Okay.
think would be good.
Yeah, and we're updating our bylaws and that sort of thing, so, we're also, by kind of getting this going again, it's like herding cats to get people excited in the cemetery district. We do have big aspirations, I mean, it is kind of the interest of town, and so we, are aware of that, and we want it to look nice, that sort of thing. But we have some long-term plans to replace the whole fence along there with a more ornate decorative fence instead of just barbed wire, that sort of thing. The boundary adjustment is important. And then just ongoing maintenance. We also have a website that you could go to now. It's called Valley Rico Cemetery, which is historically what it was referred to. And it's really a pretty cool website. We've got all the grave sites inventoried. And if you go there, you can look up a name, or you can go on a map and you can see a picture of the grave. You can add a comment like, yeah, this is my great uncle so-and-so. I visited the grave on X. So we're working on a sort of an interactive public process right now to make people more aware of the website and make it more interactive. There's also a navigation system, so you can find somebody or you can go out and find where you are on the map. And add any historical facts from your own family or whatever you want. We hope to get some high school kids involved in that as well, but it's a really neat website. We're pretty proud of it. We're cleaning up some loose ends this summer and getting that public interaction thing going.
So can we appoint the 3 names you gave us today, or?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that, you know, if this was some highly contentious board that everyone was scrambling to get on.
Yeah, yeah, right.
We might advertise or something, but, Erin's been running the show there. If she wants these 3, then I think that makes sense.
In my spare time. Okay, so it's myself, Larry Hagan and Genevieve Yellowman. And
Now, you sure you want Genevieve on there?
Genevieve has agreed to a 2-year slot, Mary 4 years, and Aaron 6 years to make them staggered.
Linda, can you hold off on, voting for Jennifer? Serious? No, serious. You probably shouldn't vote for yourself.
Okay,
Yeah,
Abstaining,
yeah.
she's abstaining.
So, I'll make a motion, to appoint Genevieve Young to the Rico Cemetery District.
And I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second to appoint Genevieve Young to the Rico Cemetery District. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in
Well,
favor?
we need
Mary and myself,
Mary Ann.
just renew everybody, just,
No, that's right. Now you can vote for those 2 and Linda can vote too.
okay.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
I was gonna run Genevieve and then the
Yeah.
other 2, so we.
And Genevieve for a 2-year term. Right,
And for 2. Have a motion and a second, all in favor of appointing Genevieve Young to the Rico Cemetery District for a 2-year.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Spain.
guys. Next motion,
Motion, I make a motion to appoint Mary Hagan and Aaron Johnson to the Rico Cemetery District, and you.
Mary for a 4-year term, myself for a 6-year term.
Mary for a 4-year term and Aaron for a 6-year term.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Have any?
Hearing none. All in favor?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well.
Yes.
Aaron Johnson and Mary Hagan are appointed to the Rico Cemetery District, Mary for a 4-year term and Aaron for a 6-year term.
You, are you done? So I wanted to add a couple things.
Yeah.
So the process that we've been going through it, and Aaron obviously has been heading it up with the Forest Service and such, is sort of still vetting it out and figuring out what's going on. And I know the county is tight on money and is concerned about that, but Aaron is really taken this on as a project, and she's trying to do it through the nonprofit without cost to the county. If something does come up that's gonna cost the county money, she'll come back to the board and ask for it.
We think we can pretty much cover it with grant and donations, but we've got an example of when you set up the district for the Dunton Fire Station. So we kind of have a ballpark of what it might cost plus inflation and all of that, but we hopefully we won't need any additional funds from you.
Are donations largely locals that donate, or are these people that come in to tour the cemetery and
We're hoping to develop more donations, but mostly these are people who are putting people in the cemetery. Usually their donations are like 200, we got one for 500, you know, so it's not major by any means.
Is there an opportunity to charge for graves?
We have not, and there's no real management. I mean, the statute allows it, but people just go and do their own thing out there. I mean, they don't even ask.
Our other cemetery districts, they were reorganized and really brought up to current costs. And, they sell quite a few grave sites and, I
Yeah,
think it's enough to carry the budget.
well, we're taking reservations so far.
Do you have a reservation?
Well, if it's free, I want in, I mean, that's what I think.
But we also don't bury people like other cemeteries do.
You don't,
No,
okay, well, explain that if you don't mind, cause I always,
it's everything, they have to arrange everything.
oh, okay, so someone just notifies you that they would like to bury a loved one in the cemetery and you say,
Yep,
okay. Do you tell them where their plot is?
they have to select where they are so we can get it on the map and get their information in there. And fortunately, 99% of people are cremated now, so it's mostly just setting stones for people.
I hate to turn everything into a business enterprise, but man alive, I think
Yeah.
people would pay to be in a beautiful cemetery like that.
Yeah, well, I think we can develop it. I don't think we can just suddenly slap a, $2,000 fee.
I'll let you, I mean, you're running it, I'm just suggesting that.
I think it has to do with finalizing the website and get it fully functional and then having people kind of recognize that we do actually services and maintain the website and all of that on their behalf. So, but it's been 100 and so many years
yeah,
that they haven't paid for anything.
so, Margaret is pretty much leading up the other cemetery district right now, so if you ever wanna just touch base with her.
Okay,
On, what they ended up doing and all that, and not to say you have to be like them, but just. Sounds like there are options out there.
yeah, I just think it'd be hard to get people here to pay anything. But we'll work towards that. And then do you want any annual report from us or anything like that?
You know, I wouldn't mind just a blurb, just because it sort of gets lost in the shuffle, I have to,
Yeah,
I mean, I think largely something like this will come
Yeah.
up for our meeting.
okay.
is that all right?
Yeah, what time of year would be good?
Summer meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right, we'll put that on the list. And I'm good.
Thanks, sir.
perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who runs the 4th of July celebration? You know, who runs Aaron?
Yeah.
Who runs the 4th of July celebration?
Well, it kind of happens, but it's like everything in Rico.
Erin puts together the poster though, she gonna
I'm
contact everyone to see what they have planned and so.
The Women's Club historically has organized the parade and does that. We do a bake sale. The firemen do the fireworks, of course, and they usually do burgers and stuff on that day. And then it became during COVID and stuff, it got a little more organized, where we had to work with each other. And we had a contact list and all of that. But that's kind of fallen off since too. But I put out an email to everybody, asked if they have any special events. I work with the bar who has the music events. And the town, work with Chauncey on what they're doing and then we make the poster. So,
Thanks for doing that.
it's a community thing. It really is.
Yeah, the town decided to host some music and events down at the pavilion this year, just because it's a bigger one and it's on a Saturday. And hopefully get people down to our new facilities down
Yeah.
there, spread things out, so that should be okay.
Yeah. And then the Women's Club has a craft fair all weekend. Museum will be open, so. Come on up.
Thank you.
I hope we'll get enough rain to have fireworks. Right now, it's looking good.
You're supposed to get rain?
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's been, the spring rains have been enough to make everything nice and green, so. It's not terribly dry right now, and it usually starts raining on the 4th. So, we'll see what happens there, but hopefully we'll have fireworks.
Sometimes they have a fire on the 4th.
Yeah,
Or
no
some
fire.
on it.
No fire this year, please.
Thank you.
Eric,
Right.
last year wasn't the fire already burning?
Yeah.
No, no,
Just leave.
it's later, I can't remember the burning.
It was the same time as the San Juan song.
It was more at the end of July.
As I can.
Alrighty. Next. We are possible moratorium subdivisions and land use changes.
So as the board is aware, the land use code and DCDLUR and the subdivision regulations are separate documents currently. The subdivision regulation, hasn't been touched since 1998. The DCDLUR hasn't been amended for quite a few years, and, there are a lot of legislative mandates that have come out over that time. Other changes in the enforcement mechanisms. We now have to use civil infractions instead of the criminal penalties and such that we had access to previously. All that stuff, there's some wildfire, obviously legislation, there's a lot of miscellaneous mandates from legislation that have occurred over the last 10 years and longer, but especially this last, I want to say, 3 years. It's really gone wild. The other thing that needs to be addressed in our land use code is a fast track process for affordable housing applications, and that's because we've opted into the affordable housing situation. So we had talked previously about maybe doing a complete rewrite on everything, and that it frankly wasn't in the bandwidth of the county when we had talked about it before. So board had asked me to update the best I could the current regulations. As part of that, I did draft many red line changes to the DCDLUR and also incorporated subdivision regulations into the DCDLUR instead of having a freestanding document. That way we have consistency with our process, consistency with what we're expecting people to submit for applications, and then notice provisions for hearings, etc. So this red line draft is in the early stages. It's been provided to the planning commission. And I would like to see any new applications we receive be subject to hopefully the new regulations that are adopted by this board for the next 3 to 4 months. And so in order to make that happen and to hold off, it's not like we're getting a flood of applications from anyone, but in case we did, this moratorium, it's allowed by statute and would basically direct the staff not to accept any applications for land use, any land use applications or subdivision applications until the moratorium is lifted. You can do this for up to 6 months without a hearing. This resolution has it go 4 months. I think that will be adequate to get through the revision phase and adopt the new regulations. It should be noted that this moratorium also exempts any application that has been received by the county prior to today. And to my knowledge, we have one, and that is the campground, frankly, up here. It's Mr. Flat.
Wait,
Olson,
isn't that Mr. Flat down this way?
or Dave's thing,
Dave Flat?
Yeah,
Olson.
oh, maybe that's by the hot springs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah.
Flat, it's Folsom.
Olsen.
Folsom.
B-U-L,
Folsom.
yeah, B-U-L.
Anyway, that one has been received, so that would go through our current process. And wouldn't be affected by this based on this draft. Any questions on that? That was a long recitation of why we're doing it.
No.
I don't have any, it sounds
Good.
good, I guess.
It makes sense to me, especially with all these mandates. I feel like this is the appropriate way to address it, rather than as they come in trying to get a actually go through land use and iron it out. And I mean, frankly, 14 years is a pretty long time
Yeah.
to go without.
And we have tried updating it previously and it just, got caught in the gears.
Because in the last 3 years, there's been a lot.
Yeah, and we tried to do an update, a couple times over the years and frankly, other things came up and it wasn't on the top of priority list. And it should be noted, just for the record, that the changes to the land use code, are not dramatic. They're designed to preserve the current, system, so to speak. With the exception of bringing the subdivision regulations into the DCDLUR, which the last subdivision application we did was just very, very difficult and we thought we needed a change there. I did wanna, before you vote on that, we don't have anyone that would accept an application today, correct?
We just have the one.
Yeah, that's it.
And I want to say thank you for all of your work on the.
Oh,
it's good.
thank you.
And continue to work on it.
Okay, you're welcome. We'll be knee deep in it in the next couple months.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 06-26-02. Resolution. Imposing a temporary moratorium on submission, acceptance, processing, and approval of any land use and subdivision application, directing a prompt review of proposed amendment to the current land use code and subdivision regulations if the intention of the Board of County Commissioners. Well, the rest of that, but.
Second,
Motion in a second by Commissioner Wellman. Any other discussion?
none for me.
No,
All in favor?
yes,
Me, yes as well. Resolution number 06-26-02. Temporary moratorium on submission, acceptance, of processing, and approval of land, of any land use and subdivision. So, for 4 months. And next, I have a new business. I know Oma was in the waiting room. Put her in, so I haven't seen her yet in the waiting room. So I think we'll just wait and see if she comes in with the weed district. And I think we go to our Western District Enterprise Pipeline spill with those. And what this is stemming from a oil spill over in La Plata County last year. Pretty major spill from the sounds of it, upwards potentially of 200,000
On the reservation.
on the reservation. And so what we talked about at our 5x5 meeting earlier this month with La Plata, Archuleta, Montezuma, San Miguel, and Dolores County was just working with PHMSA to get a handle on this as the pipeline crosses our counties. That really led into members of the CCI Western Rescue, Archuleta, Delta Dolores, pretty much everybody here on the western slope, signing on for a letter. Not a letter of support necessarily, but I would say it's just a letter of make sure that we're all on the same page over here and working with PHMSA to hash out if there's a spill, on what it looks like, what communication will look like, and just take a united approach to any major spill pipeline. I haven't seen a county out of any on the western slope here. Position to jumping on with this, and I think it's something we should first. It was a pretty funky summary of it.
Essentially, it's just to get the ducks in a row for emergency services in the event of a spill.
Yeah, in communication with PHMSA and how we can coordinate as a regional group of counties in the event of something. Because it does, the pipeline does traverse several counties here. And even counties that aren't, where it's not a direct impact, and we're signing it because of ancillary effects, cascading effects is. Across the borders. So.
Almost impossible to clear out. I mean, if it's that level. I mean, you're just hoping it dissipates.
Was the largest in the state and potentially the largest in its history.
You know, and it reminds me, if you don't mind me, it reminds me of, boy, I feel like it was 20 years or so ago when, there's a substance in gasoline now, but still an MV something, remember that? It was, huge uproar and they discovered that any leaks in gasoline just leached forever. And, it was a specific chemical, MB something. And, well, I remember back then just being, I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
The spill occurred.
I mean, it sounds like this was, they were made aware of it by ranchers and the cattle would step and gas would come up.
Oh,
It was bubbling up out of the ground.
Ground is,
it was refined gasoline.
yes.
On the rest street,
I
out
know.
by Ignacio, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. But this, I'll make a motion to sign on to the Western District Enterprise Pipeline Spill letter of unity.
Second,
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes, as well. Email sent. Seen Homa pop in,
MBT, I'm sorry, MTBE. It was a methanol tertiary butyl ether, and it was an additive that was in the 70s and 90s through the 90s, and they discovered that it just leached out everywhere. And I think they stopped using it around here. Huge contamination area.
the reclamation effort to fix that. Like you said, if you could ever do it.
Yeah.
Our DCW district, our US Forest Service grant contract. Remember doing this last year, and I don't know if Homa had any updates with it, but it's broken out by or sides of the river, is that right? You remember?
Did it again?
Broken out, because we've got different worksheets and it's broken out by the east side of the river and the west side.
You mean the wheat districts?
Yes,
So the wheat district is the west side of the river, and then it contracts for work on the other side.
it was forces. Yeah, it's not. Yes, yeah, see where that broken out here. This one. Sorry, she was in the waiting room. The registration room anyway.
Oh, but did you want to jump onto our meeting or did you have anything to say? Oh, okay. Okay, yep. That'll work, thank you. She asked us to just give her 1 minute, she had a client, she couldn't.
Okay.
1 minute.
We're waiting for Homa. Come back to our wheat district and Forest Service green contract. Old business, we have courthouse downstairs carpet. We did have the updated quote for the extension office. Personally, I'd like to lay this on the table until we can talk with Margaret, look at our budget, see what the total quote would be for the downstairs with the addition of the extension office. Guys? Or this one, property purchase contract.
So the prior meeting, you discussed the possibility of purchasing the property and that the disappointment shop sits on. And the fact that the current owner, has offered to sell the county the entire. I don't wanna call it the parcel because the parcel is like 500 acres, but the entire parcel that's across the county road, which is
13.49.
13.49 acres.
Currently, we're perpetual easement on 6.7.
Yes. And the board went back and forth on whether it was a good idea to purchase it, decided to go ahead and see if they would accept $15,000 for the purchase of the 13 plus acres. And they in fact have, they have signed the draft contract that I had put together. And it's a pretty standard contract that would require us to pay for title insurance and a survey. And I would, if you go forward with this, I would propose that we use Huddleston's for the surveyor. And then I was gonna use Mondolores for the title work. Misty over there's done a good job for us. And then the deadlines are set forth in the contract. I did spread out the initial deadlines a little bit because I'm gonna be gone for the next couple of weeks, so to avoid that rush of title work coming in and things like that. But we can push it up to a close as quickly as we're ready, and I would imagine we could close on it within 60 minutes pretty easily. And then there would be another resolution authorizing the closing and the execution of documents by usually it's the chair. And then at that point, you do your appropriation as well for the $15,000. So this would essentially just be a motion to go under contract for the potential purchase of this property for $15,000.
With that, I'll make a motion to for the potential purchase of 13.49 acres.
I will second it.
Motion, a second, any other discussion?
Won't have any.
No. Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. I'm a yes as well.
What is it that we're in with that? What is the usable?
Under contract?
No,
Escrow?
for hundreds of years.
The perpetual.
Perpetuals. I mean, do we have to do something in that
No.
perpetual easement?
Just because it was brought up, I put language in there that says upon closing, perpetual easement goes away. If the contract fails, perpetual easement survives. You don't have to say either one of those things, frankly, but since it was brought up by a citizen, I thought I'd go ahead and address it. But once you, if you have an easement on a property and then the easement holder and the property owner become this one and the same, easements disappear. Logically.
Yep.
But also legally. I just also wanted to point out that, you know, usually when you're doing government purchases of property, you'll do a appraisal just to make sure that you're not overspending or anything like that. I would suggest in this situation that would be unnecessary. It's a minimal amount for 13 acres and we already have a facility on there. I don't think doing appraisal on it would serve best interest of the community with spending that money. Secondly, there's always a question of whether or not you want to do an environmental study on the property. We've been using it as a road and bridge, department, facility, since, since 1964. I think we're pretty well acquainted with what's happened on that property and the history of it. If you wanted to spend the money to do an environmental, you can. I'm not gonna say, if there was an environmental problem, perhaps we might have caused it, so, I think I would leave it alone.
Agreed.
And I don't. Gravel storage and,
Gravel storage, I mean, this allows to expand use of it. There's an existing water well on there, but for any modification of the well, it would have to be the property owner. So this would allow autonomy to use that property.
okay, I'll move forward with, administering that contract and getting this over to Huddleston's and Mount Morris then. If you could have, Shayla tomorrow, scan, send me that.
Perfect. Okay. Back up into our new business. Oma, can you hear me? Oma?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Sure can.
Okay, my camera won't work and I can't figure out how to get off of mute. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm happy you jumped on. I give a very poor summary of our Grand Forest Service and Weed District. So,
I've just done a contract with them basically ever since I've worked here. So they just barely got it to me, I think last Thursday afternoon. So it has your name on it to be signed if you're okay if I do some spraying for the weed or the Forest Service.
yeah, and yeah, I was just looking, a couple different reimbursements. Is that just for different locations with the Forest Service? See the cooperative cost analysis for 6,000 and then the 2,977. Could you walk me through how all that's broken up?
That's a non-cash one that they put in there showing that I'm giving, like, I don't, my equipment, I give them a better rate and things. It's just a kind of a more like a cost share that I won't get paid for. What I'll wind up with is just the 6,000.
Okay.
But they have a weird kind of contract on who contributes what and all of that. So.
Okay, perfect. That clears it up for me. Yeah. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the Weed District and US Forest Service grant contract.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I don't have any.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Perfect. So I'll get that signed and I will get that to you this afternoon. Oma?
Okay, thank you. And then I'll send it off and their big person signs it and then I get it back and then we're ready to roll.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. And I do apologize if I keep me in the registration room for a while. Hopefully you weren't in there too long.
It's okay. I was having a very serious discussion about weeds with another person, so I couldn't have joined anyway.
Perfect. Thanks, Oma.
Okay, thank you.
Item 3 funds, radio equipment and final quote from Sheriff Wilson. This is stemming from our last meeting.
Right, and she gave us the 5 radios. The quote for the 5 radios, I think it was 43,000, wasn't it, or something?
$43,062.20.
Right, and she said that if they ever have to be, can't remember what she called it, retuned to where, because sometimes when you use the radios, they go out of whack to where it's not communicating with the 800 or the VHF, so they have to go in there and change things in there and put new programming in there. But she says that is probably gonna happen 5 years down the road. And it is what it is. Every radio does it. It doesn't matter what radio you use. She said they could, once we get that signed by you guys, then it'll be 2 weeks when the radios get there, and then it'll take about a week to get a program.
Okay. And I think it makes sense to go with 5 radios instead of,
And people have mentioned Kenwoods and stuff like that, but I researched the Kenwoods, and the Kenwoods are not as not reliable, but not as good as far as connectivity inside our area.
and it sounds like these will connect with our Bluetooth and interface with Starlink.
Correct.
When you're
Correct.
completely out of radio coverage.
Correct. And then, like I told you before, Margaret's working on that grant process for the Starlink, so that the cop cars can have the Starlink on there to where they can have connectivity wherever they're at. As long as they have a clear sky.
And you guys have already tested these. You had 2 loaners that you guys.
Correct, and the dead spots, even in Dove Creek where we had, those worked inside those dead spots.
And our current fund balance in Title III is 136,396. So 43,000, and then 24,500 for patrol and vehicle. We'll bring the total with Title III funds for 5 radios and the sheriff's office vehicle that's already outfitted. I think there's anything else fit. Be $67,526.08. Personally, feel like your radio is one of the most important pieces of equipment. And having been in a situation where you're on an emergency and you're not able to get out with your radio, having the satellite connectivity and being able to communicate with dispatch and other officers is invaluable.
Well, it's frustrating because when we had the guy with a felony warrant inside the house, that he had guns
In town.
in town, and we couldn't let our dispatcher know what was going on. So we had to pull out our cell phones in order to talk to the dispatcher.
The front door can communicate with the back door.
Correct, correct.
That's not good.
So
Is another dead zone is right there in the main supply, is it still
It's still the same problem.
dead zone?
Yeah. In fact, we have better connectivity inside Rico than we do in Dove Creek. And the dispatch is right there. They do same.
Make a motion to allocate $43,060.28 over the 5 radios for the sheriff's office. And the $24,500 for the sheriff's patrol vehicle. And a total amount of $67,526.28. About a motion and a second, any other discussion?
None,
No, maybe, all in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Yes as well. Perfect, and then fire restrictions.
So I went up towards Groundhog yesterday and the cows had made all the grass off. And then it was very dusty and dry. I came up to Rico today to do the same thing, to check where the grass is and how dry it is. So that way I can see it personally. And then I'll be talking to the firefighters up here about how they feel about going into a stage 2 fire restriction because of the dryness and the winds and the moisture is just not here. And I've talked to Jake down in Dove Creek last night. Having a fire right off the highway in the middle of the afternoon wasn't good, but thank goodness they got it put out pretty quick. And I foresee that with all the campers coming through here, those chains dragging and just starting a fire without nobody seeing until it's way up inside the field.
Yeah.
And so hopefully the moisture comes, I'm hoping. However, right now, with Montrose Fire, people giving us all the information that they've given us, it doesn't look good for many, many weeks. That's what, and also all the winds.
Yeah.
So drought season was here. And up there towards Grand Junction, they went into stage 2 already because of the problems they're having.
Yeah.
Not to say we're like Grand Junction, I'm not saying that, but it's just. It's moving this direction. So probably after looking at it today, I'll talk to Todd and the firefighters here. And then once I look at what it looks like, then we'll make that determination. I already know on that side. I just didn't know what this side looked like yet until today. So probably by Friday, we should have that determination, then I'll let everybody know to make sure that, okay, stage 2, it's probably going to look at stage 2 by Friday.
Yeah, makes sense. I know we had the presentation this last Wednesday. I mean, in a sustained period of our critical fire method. And even looking at that incident yesterday, it was 11 o'clock. If it would have been 3 o'clock, we would have lost it and it would have been.
And the
across
wind
state
would have
Russian
just
and
went
Timber.
whoosh, yeah,
Just, we're very fortunate that it happened early in the morning.
correct.
And I don't know if you've talked with Grant, they had a arson incident over in Durango next to the river. And the green grass was spreading, it was just crinkling up and spreading across the green fuel, so. Everything's pretty dry.
Yeah, and then every place you go, even though they have that chloride on the road, that doesn't mean that the grass is not dry. And I think that's what people look at the county roads, or even up here, they look at the mag chloride and they say, oh, well, the roads are not dusty.
Yeah.
So dust doesn't mean that it's not dry.
Yeah,
So probably by Friday, we'll make that decision after I talk to all the firefighters and then also Pleasant View as well.
impact on fireworks.
We do have, I don't know if I've told everybody, but we do have a fire ban permit exemption. If a firefighter can tell me that they can defend a fire where that fire is going to possibly start, I'm good with that. But if they can't mitigate that problem, then, okay, we can't mitigate it and we're not gonna put people at risk. So, yeah, can you have fireworks? Probably not, but then if it can be mitigated to where it's not going to cause that fire and not be able to be.
I want to clarify this, it wasn't, I mean, your personal use fireworks, it was for the fireworks shows, the safety
Correct.
shows.
Correct, it's for the
That's where my
firefighters.
mind was.
That's who it is for the firefighters. And then the fine structure that we have inside the resolution as well. I don't know if you guys have approved it all the way yet. But there's a fine structure inside there that says, okay, if you do this, $50 the first time, second time it goes up. So it keeps it all the way up to the 4th time. And it's a civil infraction instead of, okay, now I'm gonna put you in jail. Unless it's so egregious that it results that kind of charge.
We should be adopting that, next meeting, I think she's
I
gonna.
think it was the end of March or
Month,
something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, she'll have to notice the, since it's an ordinance, we'll have to. It was the first reading, published it, and then set it for the final adoption. And then that'll set up that whole schedule and stuff. Perfect.
And it's probably something that we need to share with the Rico firefighters, unless you guys haven't heard of it yet. Maybe share with the Rico firefighters to show them that fine structure as well.
Okay.
So that way, maybe when they have contact with people, they can say, look, this is what it looks like.
Yeah. I saw a interesting post on the listserv from the county attorneys about enforcing fire bans on federal ground by county sheriffs, and there was at least one county that did it, and they enforced it as an unlawful activity. I think it was some criminal statute. And since they knew it was a violation of the Forest Service, they were able to bring the ticket. I don't know how that works though in terms of whose court you go into. That go into our court.
It would, we do have a good rapport with the Forest Service and BLM law enforcement. And Forest Service and BLM law enforcement, they have a higher fine structure, and also they can put them in jail.
So then when you, if you're asked to go check out a fire or something on federal ground, which they do sometimes, right?
Yep.
And you write a ticket, do you write a federal ticket?
I don't ever write a ticket unless they tell me to write a county ticket, but they will say, hey, can you go look at this? And then they say, get all the information, this guy or gal, and then they go and investigate from there.
Oh, so you turn it all over, you turn the investigation over, so you might be a witness in trials. Okay,
Correct.
That
And then
makes
it
sense.
goes into federal court inside that Durango.
that makes sense. You give them the body cam and
Yep.
here you go.
Largely contingent on their staff, if they have somebody that can.
Correct, and normally they have two guys, one for BLM, one for, Forest Service. And they're very, very good at doing that. They even wrote a ticket up on the mountain when a semi truck rolls over. And it cost the guy $800 for a traffic ticket, whereas ours would have been about $100. So they're pretty good about it. If you hurt somebody in the pocketbook, normally it gets them to knock the crap off.
It does me.
That, we have anything else? Anything online?
I don't have anything.
I was impressed by the cell service coming up here.
No,
Were you guys impressed by the cell service?
I don't talk on my phone or drive. I do not break it down.
No, I pulled over and picked it up.
No, I lose it just outside of town and then pick it up and pull out the lures.
Oh, it's.
I don't have it in my.
There's Blip at Reese Gulch. I think they have a booster there.
Okay, cause I've right at Priest Culture, I started getting a signal and it was clean all the way.
Big old tower up there, right?
Yeah, I think there was a booster, now it might be like an actual tower, but when we lose. Down to Stoner. Nice day. Oh, yeah.
Wow,
When we lose communications, which has been happening lately, I'm assuming through construction and Telluride, because our cell tower and our internet goes down at the same time, which is super safe.
yeah,
The next place you can pick it up is right there at Priest Gulch.
huh, just a comment.
Speaking of that, have, we got any word on FTI and that last voucher?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard anything?
I haven't.
Probably more question. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Was the internet we were paying for the?
Oh,
should
we
be
did.
paying for it, yeah.
I'll keep that day,
Yeah.
and he was gonna investigate that too.
Okay. We'll follow that.
Yeah.
With that, I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Motion and second. All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
That's at 11:18.